One habit changed everything. The habit that made Rockefeller rich, ladies and gentlemen, and more importantly, my friend, thank you for being here. Today, I want you to imagine that we're not just watching a video together. Imagine we're sitting across from each other at a large wooden table. No distractions, no noise, just two people having an honest conversation about success, wealth, and one of the most powerful lessons ever discovered. Because the story you're about to hear is not really about Rockefeller. It's about you. And it's about a decision that almost every person makes without realizing it. A decision that determines where they will be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, maybe even 20 years from now. Now let me ask you a simple question. Why do some people seem to build extraordinary lives while others stay stuck for decades? Is it intelligence? Not always. Is it talent? Not necessarily. Is it luck? Sometimes. But luck alone has never built an empire. And that's exactly why the story of John D. Rockefeller is so fascinating. Because when people hear his name, they think about money, oil, power, influence. They think about one of the richest men who ever lived. But almost nobody talks about the habit that created all of it. And here's the surprising part. That habit didn't require money. It didn't require connections. It didn't require a wealthy family. In fact, Rockefeller developed it long before he became rich, long before the world knew his name, long before Standard Oil, long before the fortune. And that habit would eventually separate him from millions of people. The question is, what was it? To understand the answer, we need to travel back in time. Back to a young man who looked nothing like the billionaire history remembers. When Rockefeller was young, America was changing rapidly. New industries were appearing everywhere. Businesses were being created overnight. Opportunities seemed endless. People were chasing money from every direction. Some switched careers every few months. Others jumped from opportunity to opportunity. Everyone wanted success. Everyone wanted wealth. Everyone wanted results immediately. And if we're honest, not much has changed. Today people still chase quick wins, quick profits, quick fame, quick success. Everyone wants the result. Very few people want the process. But Rockefeller saw something that most people couldn't see. He noticed a pattern. The people around him were constantly reacting to circumstances, reacting to emotions, reacting to opportunities, reacting to fear, reacting to excitement. Their decisions changed every day. And because their decisions changed every day, their future changed every day. Nothing compounded. Nothing accumulated. Nothing lasted. Rockefeller hated that. Not because he thought he was smarter, but because he understood something incredibly important. Success is not built by making one great decision. Success is built by making thousands of good decisions, over and over again, for years. And this realization gave birth to the habit that changed his life forever. The habit of thinking long-term. Now that may sound simple, almost too simple, but don't underestimate it, because most people never truly develop it. Most people make decisions based on how they feel today. Rockefeller made decisions based on where he wanted to be years from now. That's a completely different game. Imagine two people. One plants a seed. The other buys flowers. The flowers look beautiful immediately. The seed looks like nothing. 4 weeks, nothing happens. 4 months, nothing happens. But eventually the seed becomes a tree, and the flowers disappear. This is how long-term thinking works. It feels slow in the beginning, sometimes painfully slow, but over time it becomes unstoppable. Rockefeller understood this before most people around him. While others were focused on today's reward, he was focused on tomorrow's advantage. While others asked, "What can I gain today?" Rockefeller asked, "What can I build that will continue creating value years from now?" And that single difference changed everything. Because once you start thinking long-term, you stop chasing. You start building. You stop reacting. You start planning. You stop looking for shortcuts. You start creating systems. And systems always outperform motivation. Think about that for a moment. Most people spend their lives searching for motivation. Rockefeller built systems that worked whether he felt motivated or not. That is why he became extraordinary. Not because he was always inspired, but because he was always consistent. And consistency, my friend, is where real power lives. Now here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Because long-term thinking wasn't just an idea for Rockefeller. It wasn't a quote. It wasn't motivation. It was a daily practice. Every day, he asked himself a question that most people never ask. What am I building? Not what am I earning? Not what am I buying? Not what am I getting today? What am I building? And there is a huge difference. Most people focus on income. Rockefeller focused on assets. Most people focused on transactions. Rockefeller focused on systems. Most people focused on the next week. Rockefeller focused on the next decade. That's why he could see opportunities that others completely missed. Imagine standing at the bottom of a mountain. Most people are looking at the next step. Rockefeller was looking at the entire mountain. He understood that the path wouldn't always be exciting. Some days would be difficult. Some days would be boring. Some days would feel like no progress was being made at all. But he also understood something most people forget. The greatest rewards usually come after the greatest patience. And patience is becoming increasingly rare. Today we live in a world that rewards speed. Instant messages, instant entertainment, instant delivery, instant opinions. Everything is designed to make us expect results immediately. But wealth doesn't work that way. Mastery doesn't work that way. Great businesses don't work that way. The strongest relationships don't work that way. And Rockefeller knew it. He understood that if you want extraordinary results, you must be willing to live differently from ordinary people. Let me give you an example. Imagine two investors. The first investor checks his investments every hour. Every market movement affects his emotions. Every drop scares him. Every gain excites him. His decisions are controlled by today's news. The second investor focuses on the next 10 years. Short-term noise doesn't control him. Temporary setbacks don't break him. His attention stays fixed on the destination. Now ask yourself, which investor is more likely to succeed? The answer seems obvious. Yet every day millions of people behave like the first investor. Rockefeller behaved like the second. And that's exactly why he built something extraordinary. But here's the part most people don't realize. Long-term thinking isn't really about money. It's about identity. It's about becoming the kind of person who can delay gratification. The kind of person who can stay committed when nobody is watching. The kind of person who keeps going when there is no immediate reward. Because that's where most people quit. Not when things become impossible. When things become boring. Think about it. Starting is easy. Finishing is rare. Everyone wants to become successful. Very few people are willing to repeat the same valuable actions for years. Rockefeller was. And that gave him an advantage that compounded over time. Year after year. Decision after decision. While others were changing directions, he stayed focused. While others were distracted, he stayed committed. While others were looking for shortcuts, he stayed patient. And eventually, patience became power. Now, my friend, let's make this practical. Because a lesson is useless if it stays in a history book. How can you apply Rockefeller's habit in your own life? The first step is simple. Stop asking, what do I want right now? Start asking, what do I want 5 years from now? That single question can completely change your decisions. It changes how you spend your money. It changes how you spend your time. It changes who you spend your time with. It changes what you learn. It changes what you ignore. Because successful people are often defined not by what they do but by what they refuse to do. The second step is to focus on systems instead of goals. Goals are important, but systems create results. A goal says, I want to become wealthy. A system says, I invest every month. A goal says, I want to get stronger. A system says, I train 3 times every week. A goal creates direction. A system creates progress. Rockefeller understood this better than almost anyone. The third step is to become comfortable with delayed rewards. This is difficult. In fact, it's one of the hardest skills a person can develop, because the world constantly encourages immediate pleasure. But every meaningful achievement requires patience. Every business, every investment, every skill, every transformation, the reward comes later. And that's exactly why so few people achieve extraordinary things. They quit before the compound effect begins. They stop before the results become visible. They abandon the process just before the breakthrough. Rockefeller didn't. And that decision changed everything. Now imagine what would happen if you adopted the same habit. Imagine making decisions based on where you want to be in 10 years. Imagine investing in yourself consistently. Imagine staying focused while everyone else is distracted. Imagine continuing when everyone else quits. Would your life look different? Of course it would. Because the future is not created in one moment. It's created in thousands of moments. Small decisions, repeated consistently, over long periods of time. That's the real secret. Not luck, not magic, not hidden knowledge, just disciplined long-term thinking. And that's why the habit that made Rockefeller rich is still relevant today. Not because it made him wealthy, but because it made him different. It allowed him to see what others couldn't see, to endure what others wouldn't endure, to build what others never even attempted to build. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all. The people who change their lives rarely do it through one giant action. They do it through one powerful habit, repeated for years. Before we finish, I want you to remember one sentence. Write it down if you need to. The future belongs to those who can think beyond today. Rockefeller understood it. The question is, will you? And if you found value in this conversation, help us continue building this community. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us create more content like this and reach more people who are serious about growth, wealth, and long-term success. Thank you for your time, my friend. And remember, most people chase results. The exceptional build futures. We'll see you in the next video.